Hello, my name's Ben Brain. In this video lesson I'm going to show you how you can create this cool X-ray effect from a simple shot of a toy frog a little bit like this. So let's double click on this to open in the CS5 window, and you can see we have our image here. The first thing we need to do is to just duplicate the background layer. We can just drag this icon down here and you can see that we have a new duplicate of our background layer. So let's just call that invert. Okay, now we're just going to reverse the tones of this image. We're going to go up to Image, Adjustments, and down to Invert. And you can see there's another keyboard shortcut there. We could have just gone Control I. So let's do that. And you can see now all the tones have been reversed. The next thing we need to do is to make our image black and white. So let's go to the Create an Adjustment Layer icon at the bottom of the Layers panel and just go up to Black and White. And you can see we have our Adjustments panel has also appeared, allowing us to tweak the image. Now we just want to make the frog a little bit lighter, so we can hit this icon here, and then if we just move onto the frog and then I just move my cursor to the right, you can see we can just target those tones. You can see that as I do that, the blue slider is also moving, so we could just target those areas by just hitting the blue there. Let's just click OK, and let's just hide that in there and get rid of that. Okay, so here we are with our layers, and you can see we now have our three layers, the inversion and the black and white. The next thing I'm going to do is add a bluish cyan tint, just to hone in on one of the other characteristics of old X-rays. So let's go back to the adjustment layer icon at the bottom of the layers panel, and let's go to photo filter this time, and you can see a new adjustment panel pops up. And we can just drop down to cyan here, and let's just add a density of about 75. And we want to just make sure this preserve luminosity is actually unchecked. You can see when it's checked that some of these highlights that are just coming through aren't looking great. So we're going to uncheck that. So it looks a little bit flatter for now, but don't worry about that. We'll tweak the contrast at some of the later stages. Let's go back to our layers panel. Now I want to add a diffused glow, and to do that I'm going to merge all these layers into one new layer at the top of the layer stack, and there's a great keyboard shortcut for doing this, which is Shift Control Alt and the letter E, and then you can see we have this new layer here. So let's just rename that layer Glow, and now I'm going to just go up to Filter, Blur, and add a Gaussian blur of about 50 pixels. We can just or thereabouts. Let's click OK. You can see that's horribly blurred now, but we're going to change the blend mode, top of the layers panel here. We're going to change it from normal to soft light. And you can see that's now given us that nice glow, which is characteristic of some X-rays. You can click on the eye icon to just see the effect. Now I'm going to add one more adjustment layer, this time just to tweak the contrast. So let's go to Curves, and you can see we can just create a gentle S-curve. Just pull the highlights up just a little bit here, and the shadow area just down a little bit. Just a gentle S-curve there, just slightly boosting the contrast. Again, we can just have a look there. And then for one last effect, I'm just going to do a little bit of dodging and burning, and we can do this non-destructively, clicking on a new layer, and then going to fill, and let's keep that normal and 50% grey, click OK, and then let's just change the blending mode to overlay, and now we can select the dodge and burn tools from the tools palette, use the square brackets to just make the brush bigger or smaller. There we go, you can hear that, and I'm just going to sculpt around just a little bit, making some of these areas a bit darker and a bit lighter, and you can see on my layer where the brush marks are. We can also just rename this burn and dodge, just so we know where we are, and it's good practice. And then we can just tweak our image here, just creating a little bit more, just a little bit more depth in some of these areas. And there you have it, our X-rayed frog.